There's a city 40 minutes from Chicago where nature is quietly swallowing entire city blocks. Grand theaters sit gutted under caved-in roofs. Churches that once held thousands now hold pigeons. Streets that were designed for a booming metropolis now run past empty lots where houses used to be.
Yeah, I grew up in.
What was it like back in the day?
You know, beside the bias and
This is Gary, Indiana. It was built by one of the most powerful corporations in American history. It once had a fair claim to being the most modern city in the country, and today it's one of the most depopulated cities in America. So what happened? Today, we're finding out. I'm your host, and you're watching. Gary didn't grow slowly out of a trading post or a river crossing.
Oh no, we're doing electrical in it.
So there are jobs now like this?
Oh, it's always been jobs like this. You just gotta get the opportunity, you know.
It's a good job?
Definitely. I wouldn't even call it a job. It's like a career. You know, you get skills.
Like most American cities, it was built on purpose, almost overnight, by United States Steel. In 1906, U.S. Steel needed a place to build the largest steel plant on Earth. They found it on the swampy southern shore of Lake Michigan. Cheap land, deep water access for shipping ore, and rail lines already threading through the region. The company bought roughly 9,000 acres, drained the marshland, and started laying out streets before there was a single resident to walk on them. They named the town after their own board chairman, Judge Elbert H. Gary.
Michael Jackson's father.
Yeah, keep his family away from all the bad kids.
Okay.
While he worked in a mill, he had to take care of his family.
So Michael Jackson's father worked in...
Within a few years, Gary wasn't a company outpost anymore. It was a genuine city. Purpose built around a single machine, the Gary Works Steel Mill. To understand why Gary mattered, you have to understand what steel meant to America at the turn of the century. The country was building itself skyscrapers, railroads, bridges, cars, and all of it needed steel. Between 1880 and 1910, American steel production exploded from a little over 1 million tons a year.
They're scared of their 12-year-olds?
They're scared of.
Really?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, because they mix with the wrong crowd. You don't know what these little kids are carrying now. You know what I'm saying? I used to tell the kids.
To more than 24 million tons, making the U.S. the undisputed steel capital of the planet. Gary Works was the crown jewel of that industry. It ran on open hearth furnaces that could produce steel in volumes nobody had attempted before. Word spread fast, and workers poured in. European immigrants looking for a new life, and black families fleeing the Jim Crow South looking for the same thing. Within a decade,
Chicago or wherever, right off the highway. It's crazy that it has that old world downtown, and then it also has this. So like anything, you can't put an easy label on it.
a patch of drained swampland had a population in the tens of thousands. But growth that fast rarely comes without a cost. Wages were low, shifts were brutal, often 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the workforce was sharply divided along racial lines, with the best jobs and housing going to white workers. Tension simmered for years, and in 1919, it boiled over. Gary's steelworkers joined a nationwide strike involving over 350,000 workers.
Cultures, people, through and through, everywhere I go with these videos, pretty much everyone is open-armed, easy to talk.
Demanding fair pay and safer conditions. The strike was eventually broken, and the mill went back to work, but it was a warning sign of fractures that never fully healed. Despite the unrest, Gary kept climbing. By the 1920s, it had schools, theaters, department stores, and grand civic architecture rising up in a city that hadn't existed 20 years earlier. Locals started calling it the Magic City, a place where a newcomer could step off a train and have a steel job within 48 hours.
today. There were some hard looks. You know, those like don't test the water looks.
World War II pushed Gary to its absolute peak. With men shipped overseas, women stepped into the mill for the first time in large numbers, keeping the furnaces running around the clock to supply steel for the American war machine. By 1943, U.S. Steel's national workforce topped 340,000, and Gary Works was doing a huge share of that output. The post-war years kept the momentum going. America was rebuilding the world, literally, and for a while it looked like Gary's rise had no ceiling. In 1958, the city even produced a piece of pop culture history.
Gonna have a selfie place. This man's as well. She had autism, so this really works good with autism kids. This is Pooh Shiesty.
Michael Jackson was born there. It's a strange bit of trivia, because by the time Jackson became one of the most famous people alive, the city he was born in was already collapsing. Nothing lasts forever, and steel was no exception. After World War II, Europe and Japan rebuilt their industries from scratch with brand new, more efficient plants. Meanwhile, American steel companies, flush with decades of profit, largely kept using the same open hearth technology instead of investing in newer methods like the basic oxygen furnace. It was cheaper to keep running old equipment than to modernize, until suddenly it wasn't. By the 1970s, foreign steel was cheaper and often better, and American mills, including Gary Works, couldn't compete. The layoffs started in 1971 and never really stopped. Tens of thousands of jobs disappeared over the following decades. Between 1970 and 2005, Gary's steel workforce collapsed from around 32,000 employees.
Nails all over. Wow. Wow.
To roughly 7,000. And when the jobs left, the people left with them. Gary's population fell from a peak of over 175,000 to less than 100,000. Businesses shuttered. Tax revenue dried up. City services crumbled. And with poverty rising and opportunity gone, crime rose right alongside it. By the 1990s, Gary was regularly ranked among the most dangerous cities in the country, even earning the grim nickname, the murder capital of America. Walk through Gary today, and the scale of the abandonment is hard to put into words. An estimated 1 in 5 buildings in the city sits completely empty. The old City Methodist Church, once one of the most beautiful buildings in the Midwest, with soaring stone arches and stained glass, is now a roofless ruin, coated in graffiti and ivy, drawing urban explorers from around the world who come to photograph American decline up close. More than a third of Gary's population lives below the poverty line. Whole neighborhoods that once housed thousands now sit as overgrown lots with nothing but a cracked sidewalk to prove a street was ever there. But Gary isn't entirely a ghost town. There are people who never left, who are raising families, running small businesses, fighting for their neighborhoods block by block. There have been real attempts at revival. A minor league baseball stadium, historic preservation tours through the ruins, redevelopment proposals for the waterfront. None of it has been enough to reverse decades of decline, but it hasn't stopped either. Gary, Indiana, is what happens when a city's entire identity is tied to a single industry, and that industry falls out from under it. It's not really a story about one company or one town, it's a pattern that played out across the entire Rust Belt, in Youngstown, in Flint, in a dozen other cities that boomed and busted with American manufacturing. The question Gary leaves us with isn't really about steel at all. It's about what a city becomes once the thing that built it disappears, and whether it can ever become something new. If you want to see more stories like this, subscribe and let me know in the comments which other American city do you want us to dig into next.